4. With part 4, I'm going to start working on this area in the front here. And one thing I want you to do is try not to use the same size blotches of color. I've noticed a lot of people don't change the size of their markings and give it enough variety. And I want to make this fairly bright and kind of playful up here. This is bright here. So, avoiding my coffee once again, I'm going to go into my yellow. And I'm just going to start putting some yellow here and there. Not very much. And it might seem a lot at the moment, but you'll see why. Because remember, my light's coming from this way. So we have some brightness over here, and a lot of this yellow will be covered. But this is going to be my light side, and then it'll have some darker shadows coming down this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start building areas, and by building areas I mean I might blotch in some areas, and this isn't like where the area should finish, because I have all these solid, like it's the same color. So what I want to do is I want to work in variety. I want to work in variety of size. I want to work in variety of color value. Now, when I get to the darker stuff on the right, where my sun isn't hitting, it's going to, of course, I'm going to have darker ones. And so yeah. So if I start to work into some like just bush feelings, okay, I'm going to come across, and so I have a nice long strip here that I probably will break up again as well, but I want to get away from it. Make a few more marks that color, get away from it. And your areas that you mark off to the left here, you're getting more distant, so you want to make them finer. And as you get up closer, you can start to make these a little bit bigger. Now remember, this is just the basis. I'm not trying to show individual leaves or anything like that. I'm just trying to put in the basics of the plant shapes that are coming at us in the foreground. Okay, different shapes of strokes, different sizes of clusters. You want to do as much as you can to kind of randomize these things. I'm just kind of skipping the brush across here and there. I'm going to get a little water, and I'm going to take some of this, and I'm going to do kind of almost a little wash here, just kind of taper this down. Pull this color out there a little bit. And that was actually pure water I'm smearing around now. I'm just kind of trying to soften this up a little. I'll bring some over here. Okay, so, and of course over on this side, we're going to have some paint on my brush. We are going to have some more kind of shadowy areas over here, because this is not our sun side. So once again, now it's wet, but I'm skipping the brush across here. Getting into these like grays and stuff. And I will add some color here, but we will have more shadow on this side, even though I'm not making specific shadows on specific things right now. We will have more darkness on that side. Almost got it in the coffee. See, that's what happens when you stay up too late. I stayed up too late last night. I'm tired. So, okay, I still got this big brush. It's a small brush, but for what I'm doing, it's big. So what I want to do is go back to this little one. This is my my Walmart special. And you can pretty much just jump around with color here. Okay, like I'm taking my dark gray, mixing it with some orange, and I'm going to start. Okay, now see that blobbed more than I wanted it to, so let's just go with it, right? I'm going to take a little paint off, just rub it on the palette, and that's really harsh. I don't like it too much, but that's okay because I can complement what. See, when I get too dark like that, I can get some lighter color, kind of bring in there with it, and then it feels a little bit more at home. I think one of the things I want to emphasize with this whole process here is break it up, change the sizes, change the spacing, make it as random as humanly possible. You don't want to have like repetitive looking shapes. Okay, up here, there's maybe a little light hitting the grasses, like right at the edge of the shed here. With that. Now, one thing I could have done with acrylic here that would have worked a little better is I could have covered some of the walls of the shed with some grasses. And I think that would have kind of helped give it more depth. Not sure if that's going to work or not. Too bright. That's okay. Alright, so I got this yellow here, but that's okay, we'll brighten it up some. Remember in watercolor, if you get it too bright like that, you can always come back in there and kind of help it out with a little darkness. So these will be like my brightest areas here. Got some yellow flowers going. See, so many times when you're doing a picture like this, you have to kind of adjust what you're doing to kind of go with what the paint dictates, I think. Sometimes it's just the best way to adjust. And I gotta be more careful to get the water out of my brush first because I'm kind of getting blobby here and there. So, like I said, I think you need to kind of establish some of the foundational parts of this just these just general areas get generally a little darker over here. See, I got really dark there, so I'm going to get at the base of my shed, kind of make it shadowy. Now the shadow's broken up because there's weeds that are like higher and lower and things like that. So the shadow's not going to be solid. Okay. See how that's just kind of drug down a little bit. And of course, this is kind of, I'm picturing this as kind of like a little knoll here, like a little hill. So I'm going to have some touches of shadow over here too. Okay, so when you get to this point, just kind of stop. Don't get carried away here because I want to show you more with that on part 5. Okay.